are
Hello,
you?
Robin.
Hi, everybody.
Right, council, we are going to begin momentarily here. All right, good evening. We will call the meeting for Monday, August 2nd, 2021 to order. Public participation tonight, the Auburn City Council meeting scheduled for tonight will be held in person and virtually. We, as you can see, council is still remote, but we have opened up council chambers for in-person comment for the public comment period and for any public hearings. So with that, council, if you will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. And Sean, if you will please call roll.
Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Here.
Councilmember Baggett.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember J. Raj.
I'm here.
Councilmember Malinga.
Here.
Councilmember Stearns.
Here.
Councilmember Trump Manuel.
Here. Thank you. All right. Tonight, we have no announcements, proclamations, or presentations, so we will move to appointments. The item tonight under Arts Commission, City Council to confirm the following appointments to the Arts Commission for 3-year terms expiring December 31, 2023. And those terms are for Christine De Leon and Tori Olson. Do we have a motion? Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve confirm the appointments of Christine De Leon and Tori Olson to the Art Commission for a 3-year term.
Thank you. Councilmember J. Raj.
Thank you, Your Honor. I second that motion.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. As always, we appreciate people stepping forward and volunteering for these positions. And our Arts Commission does wonderful work within the city and provides some very interesting pieces that's approved by the Art Commission.
Yes. All right, council, are there any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor of the appointments to the Art Commissions for 3-year terms for Christine De Leon and Tori Olson, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. And as Deputy Mayor said, we thank Christine and Tori for their dedication to the city. And we appreciate their expertise and enthusiasm that they will bring to those roles. Sean, do we have any agenda modifications this evening?
No, Your Honor.
No? Okay. We do have public hearings this evening, and public hearing tonight will be in person or virtual participation. Any interested person is invited to attend the public meeting as we have tonight or submit written comments, voicing approval or disapproval on the limited update to the 2015 Comprehensive Water Plan and the Water Use Efficiency Program. Sean, did we receive any written comment?
No written comments, Your Honor.
All right. I will open the public meeting or the public hearing. Let's see. Yes, the public hearing for the limited update of the 2015 Comprehensive Water Plan. Public hearing is open. I do not believe there is a staff report this evening, as council was briefed on this at the study session. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on the public hearing for a limited update of the 2015 Comprehensive Water Plan? Is there anyone that would like to speak? Hearing and seeing none, I will close the public hearing and we will move to the second public hearing. That is a public hearing for Water Use Efficiency Program. I will open the public hearing. We did not receive any written comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on the water use efficiency program. Is there anyone that would like to speak in this public hearing? All right, we will close the public hearing and we will move to audience participation. This is the place on the agenda where the public is invited to speak to the city council on any issue. The public can participate in person or submit written comments in advance. Participants can submit written comments via mail, fax, or email. All written comments must be received prior to 5 p.m. on the day of the scheduled meeting and must be 350 words or less. Please mail comments to City of Auburn, attention Sean Campbell, City Clerk, 25 West Main Street, Auburn, Washington, 98001. Please fax comments to attention Sean Campbell, City Clerk, 253-804-3116. Or email comments to publiccomment@auburnwa.gov. We will open audience participation at this time. There were no written comments received, so we will open public comment for in-person audience participation. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Right, if you would please move to the tabletop there and we will have someone assist you with getting set up. And please limit comments to 3 minutes or less. Yes, you can take your mask off for it.
Hi, my name is Waylon, 719 R Street Northeast. I just want to preface this. It's nice to be back in person at a limited capacity, and city council and mayor, you all do thankless work. But I've always been the one to say, at least we don't do that in Auburn. You know, when people get frustrated or animated in a public meeting. But then I realized those cities are the ones who proactively get things done. Not to say Auburn does not, but we can certainly do better. Pardon me. By this, I mean, be intentional in your actions. Many people here are perfectly fine with nothing happening, maintaining the status quo. But I know, and I know that they know, that that is not the way. That is not okay. That doesn't fit into the city's equity plan. You will not please everyone, and it is your job to serve the people, but the loudest ones aren't always the right ones. I know many of you up on the dais this evening hold the same values that I do. And I think your actions are not showing it all the time. Doing something is almost always better than doing nothing. I say all this to encourage my elected representatives to be intentional, to support equity loud and proud. I promise we have your back if you have ours. Our city needs strong, decisive, proactive, progressive, and equitable leadership if we want to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Final time, is there anyone else that would like to speak this evening? All right, we will close audience participation. And Sean, I don't believe we have any correspondence for review.
No, Your Honor.
And let me turn this volume back up. All right, we do have council ad hoc committees. Currently, we have 2, and council ad hoc committee chairs may report on the status of their ad hoc council committee's progress on assigned tasks and may give their recommendation to the city council, if any. And first this evening is the finance ad hoc committee with Chair Baggett.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Council Ad Hoc Finance Committee, consisting of Councilmember Jayaraj and myself, reviewed 89 pages of 2021 claims vouchers totaling $2.9 million, dated August 2nd, 2021, if approved. It should be noted that our finance department issued $122,000 in utility rebates to our residents during this period, with senior rebates being predominant. The committee also reviewed payroll vouchers for the period July 15th through July 28th, 2021, in the total amount of $2.7 million. All questions by the committee for the finance department were answered to the satisfaction of the committee. And upon completion of our review, the committee recommends council approval of these vouchers.
Thank you. And our second and newest ad hoc committee is ARPA, or American Recovery Plan Act Ad Hoc Committee, and that was set up under the direction of myself and Deputy Mayor DeCoursey to assist the city in identifying where funding that we received from the federal government should be allocated. And so the chair of that committee is also Councilmember Baggett. So Councilmember Baggett, please.
Thank you. I forgot to duck. So anyway, the city of Auburn has been granted $14.7 million as part of the Federal American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, that was passed into law during March 2021. The city has received $7.35 million, or 50% of the total allocation, with the remaining $7.35 million to be provided 12 months later. This committee, consisting of Deputy Mayor DeCoursey, Councilmember Jayaraj, and myself, and in conjunction and collaboration with the mayor and city department directors, will discuss our recommendations with full council during a study session planned for August 23rd, 2021. This is our city's portion of the $350 billion for eligible state, local, territorial, and tribal governments to respond to the COVID-19 emergency still facing our nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any questions of Councilmember Baggett regarding either of his committee reports? All right, we will move to the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered by the City Council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown for the second.
I would second that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. The consent agenda for this evening consists of the minutes of the June 28th, 2021 study session, minutes of the July 6th, 2021 regular council meeting, the claims vouchers and payroll vouchers as described and recommended for approval by the Finance Committee, and also Public Works project number CP 1416, which is an increase of $50,000. The total maximum authorized contract amount for the Public Works contract number 21-10. City Code allows for administrative approval of change orders within the authorized contingency amount for projects. If the additional contingency amount is remaining, the code also allows City Council to increase the total maximum authorized contract amount, which is an increase to the authorized contingency available for administrative approval. And that's what this portion of the consent agenda does this evening.
Thank you. Council, are there any questions or comments? All right, all those in favor of the consent agenda, please unmute and say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Consent agenda has passed. We have no unfinished business this evening. We will move on to ordinances. Ordinance number 6827, an ordinance amending ordinance number 6794, the 2021-2022 biennial operating budget ordinance, and ordinance number 6796, the 2021-2022 biennial capital budget, as amended by ordinance number 6815, authorizing amendment to the City of Auburn 2021-2022 budget as set forth in Schedule A and Schedule B. Do we have a motion? Do we have a motion? Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt ordinance number 6827.
Thank you. Councilmember Trout Manuel.
I second that.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
This budget amendment is set to align our beginning fund balances with actual amounts. This is fairly routine for council. We go through a number of budget amendments annually, and to kind of true up where we are in our expenditures and revenues for the budgets. This particular one allows for transfers between operating funds and capital funds for previously approved capital projects, increasing the budget for certain existing programs, and increasing the budget for new programs, including adding a 1 FTE for administrative specialist position in the Maintenance and Operations Division.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council? Right, hearing none, if you would please unmute. All those in favor of ordinance number 6827, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Ordinance number 6827 passes. Ordinance number 6830, an ordinance adding a new section to the Auburn City Code that authorizes the Auburn Police Department to use body-worn cameras and provides a process for community input into body-worn camera policy development, and authorizing the Auburn Police Department to engage in a competitive negotiation process to procure body-worn cameras and related equipment. Councilmember Jayraj.
Thank you, Your Honor. I like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 6830.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
I'd second that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Jayraj.
Thank you, Your Honor. This ordinance will authorize the City of Auburn Police Department to pursue purchasing body cameras and the development of body-worn camera policies in consultation with the Police Advisory Committee. The Auburn Police Department has presented the body camera options to council and has identified the operational needs to use body cameras. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Councilmember Stearns, did you have a question?
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. I have a question about the resolution or ordinance.
Yes, it's an ordinance.
Yeah, section 3, it says competitive negotiation process. And I was just wondering if someone could clarify what the competitive negotiation process is. And is that something that is outlined in our city code or the RCW? I just like some clarification on that.
Who would like to respond to that? Is it, I see that our city attorney turned her camera on, so I'm going to assume that City Attorney Como would like to respond to that.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Councilmember Stearns, we are doing a request for proposals, which is required by state law under the RCW. So RCW 10-109-020 recommends that the City Council adopt an ordinance, and then there's a competitive negotiation process mentioned in the state law. So our interpretation of that, and in the interest of having an open and transparent process, is to go through the RFP process. And I believe the police department is working with my department to publish that RFP next week. And then we'll see what the proposals are after that time.
Oh, okay. So it's a process that we're using from the RCW.
The RCW requires a competitive negotiation process. So that can mean anything from soliciting 3 bids from different providers, all the way to this formal request for a proposal process. So the Auburn Police Department has chosen the request for a proposal process because that is the most open and transparent way to procure an item like this and equipment. There will be a publication and a posting online and a solicitation of all bids.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments from council? All right. All those in favor of ordinance number 6830, please unmute and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Ordinance 6830 passes. Resolution number 5600, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept 2 state grants from the Washington State Department of Transportation. Do we have a motion? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would move the adoption of, excuse me here, resolution number 5600.
Thank you. Councilmember Malinga.
I second that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. This resolution would accept grant funding awarded to the city by the Washington State Department of Transportation to design and construct sidewalks and other associated improvements along east side of Riverwalk Drive Southeast between Auburn Way South and Howard Road, and along the south side of Auburn Way South between Howard Road and Muckleshoot Plaza.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions or comments? All right, if you would please unmute. All those in favor of resolution number 5600, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Resolution 5600 passes. Resolution number 5602, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept a grant from the Washington Traffic Safety Commission, WTSC. Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to adopt resolution number 5602.
Thank you. Councilmember Trout Manuel.
I second that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the resolution means that accepting these grant funds will allow the city to design and construct an enhanced pedestrian crossing with a rectangular rapid flashing beacon on 37th Street Southeast at Gildo Ray Elementary.
Thank you. Questions or comments, council? All right. If you'd please unmute. All those in favor of resolution number 5602, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Resolution 5602 passes. Resolution number 5603, a resolution authorizing submittal of the city's 2021 through 2026 water use efficiency program to the Washington State Department of Health. Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. I move to adopt resolution number 5603.
Thank you. Councilmember Jayraj.
Thank you, Your Honor. I second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the 2021 through 2026 water use efficiency program sets the goals that would be in effect during this period of time for efficient use of the city's water resources.
Thank you. Council, questions or comments? All right, if you would please unmute. All those in favor of resolution number 5603, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Resolution number 5603 passes. Resolution number 5604, a resolution authorizing submittal of the city's limited update of the 2015 Comprehensive Water Plan to the Washington State Department of Health. Do we have a motion? Councilmember Trout Manuel.
I move to adopt resolution number 5604.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Yes, resolution number 5604. The city has prepared a limited update of the 2015 Comprehensive Water Plan, requesting approval of a 4-year extension of the plan from the Washington State Department of Health.
Thank you. Council, any questions or comments? All right, if you'd please unmute. All those in favor of resolution number 5604, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Resolution number 5605, a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement between Pierce County, the Puyallup Indian Tribe, and several Pierce County cities for the creation and operation of South Sound Housing Affordability Partners, or SHAPE. Councilmember Baggett.
Ooh, I think I got the wrong one here.
Okay, did you want to make the motion, or would you like me to call on another council member?
I would like to defer to another colleague.
All right, Councilmember J. Raj.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 5605.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember J. Raj.
Thank you, Your Honor. The proposed motion summary. Resolution number 5605 authorizes the mayor to enter into a intergovernmental agreement with Pierce County, the Puyallup Tribe, and several Pierce County cities for the purpose of working collaboratively on affordable housing strategies, actions, and investments with Pierce County.
Thank
you.
Questions or comments from council? And if you would please unmute. All those in favor of resolution number 5605, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Resolution number 5605 passes. Resolution number 5608, a resolution accepting funds appropriated to the city under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA, and directing the city's future expenditure of such appropriated funds pursuant to ARPA guidelines and restrictions. Councilmember Baggett.
I move to adopt resolution 5608.
Thank you. Councilmember J. Raj.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Baggett.
As we discussed earlier during the ad hoc committee portion of the talk with the residents and people out there, we have received funding in the amount of, or we will receive funding in the amount of $14,751,230 award to the city. The purpose of these funds is to cover certain allowable costs for projects, programs, and governmental services between March 31st, 2021 and December 31st, 2024.
Thank you. Questions or comments, council? All right, if you would please unmute. All those in favor of resolution number 5608, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Resolution number 5608 passes. We can now prepare to spend federal funds. Thank you. Resolution number 5609, a resolution declaring an emergency with respect to repairing fire-related damage sustained by the Auburn Avenue Theater. Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
I move to adopt resolution 5609.
Thank you. Councilmember Malinga.
I second that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. Unfortunately, we had another devastating fire downtown. We had a fire 3.5 years ago at the Heritage Building, and now the building that housed Nelson Jewelers for many, many years, and a number of stores and residents have been displaced because of this devastating fire. There was also damage to the Auburn Avenue Theater, smoke and water damage, and this resolution provides an emergency declaration for the repairs and restoration of the Auburn Avenue Theater due to the fire. So this emergency declaration allows city staff to immediately perform necessary work to reduce further damage to the building and allow city staff and the public safety to return to the building.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns, you have a question?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I was just wondering how quickly can the damage be repaired, and do we have an idea of how much it's going to cost?
So the answer to that is we do not know yet. The emergency declaration was signed last week in order for the engineer, structural engineer, to be hired to go in and determine the extent of the damage. And some of that will depend also on the extent of damage to the main building that housed the Maxwell apartments, as well as Nelson's Jewelry, former Nelson's Jewelry, Bougie Boutique, Sushido's, Hidden Entity, and other surrounding businesses. I think I named all of them that were actually in there. So we will have to wait as well to see what the structural damage is to that main building. But any work that can be done, we will do, depending upon what the engineers, structural engineers identify.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council on this? All right, if you would please unmute. All those in favor of resolution number 5609, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Resolution 5609 passes. All right, at this point, we are at the mayor and council member reports. Mayor and city council may report on significant items associated with their appointed positions on federal, state, regional, and local organizations. We will begin with Deputy Mayor DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mayor. Although we did not have a prior council meeting, and I did attend a few meetings, I will forego my report for this evening.
Thank you. Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Yes, on July 20th, I met with the Blue Ribbon Committee along with Councilmember Baggett. The Blue Ribbon Committee is planning a huge event, community event, and it's promoting diabetes. And we are collaborating with AmeriCorps, AmeriGroup, MultiCare Health System, HealthPoint, Harborview, UW Medical, Green River Community College, Auburn School District, Marshall Lee Women's Association, and the Muckleshoot Tribe, the Latino community, and the YMCA Diabetes Association. The purpose for this, doing this event, is to bring awareness and for the people to learn and to understand the chronic disease diabetes. It's going to have some quality presenters, free screenings, current and appropriate vendors, and then demonstrations, healthy living, healthy foods and drinks, entertainments, and it's going to be, like I said, September 18th, 2021 from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Auburn Event Center. So we're still planning. We're still in the midst of planning this event, but we're really excited about putting it together to bring awareness on diabetes. Then on July 29th, I was invited with the Auburn Prevention Coalition to a conference at the Muckleshoot Casino at the conference center. The topic was get drugs off of our res. They have been having a lot of youth and high school students dying from overdose. The tribal is getting very serious and they are wanting to make it a lot harder, stricter, and to get the drugs off the reservation. They had it was very well attended with their community. A lot of them got up and gave testimonial. We're talking about having them incarcerated, getting them into the healthcare system, mental health as well, and talking about putting up cameras. And I got up and I talked about the cameras because when I first came here, our community here, my neighborhood, talked about getting cameras in our Tot Lot Park because we were having a high trafficking, and we had Chief Lee involved in this. They did put the cameras. We closed down 2 drug houses and stopped the drugging in that park. So they took those notes down. They're going to think about it. They had, like I said, several testimonials about how this problem is an illness and it's not fair. Some of them were saying it's not fair to be incarcerated, especially when it's an illness. They should be helping them. But the council spoke and they're very serious about cleaning up the Muckleshoot community. Then on, oops, where's my other one? Oh. I met with our regional law and justice on July 29th. On the agenda was reducing involvement in the criminal justice system among persons that experience homelessness. We had the downtown emergency service centers, the director come and talk, and he had 3 of his staff, Daniel Mullen, with 3 of his staff, and they talked about how they're working very closely with the homelessness individuals that have mental illness, they have chronic illnesses, and they have hired a security group of people to come and stay in the facilities. They said they do have people that get very agitated, and instead of calling the police, they take care of it themselves, and they treat them with dignity and respect, and they calm the people down, and they put them back in their rooms and get the counselors involved in it. So it sounded like a really good thing that they're doing up there. And I shared, then they had Sound City Association members be able to share what's going on in their cities. So Auburn and Berrien had to share. So I shared about what's going on in our city with the advisory police community, our advisory police committee. And then I also shared about our resource center of Auburn, and I showed them the flyer that we have here in the city of Auburn. So they made a copy of it and distributed it to our regional line, Sound City Association Regional Law Committee. And we talked about the community court. They wanted to know how that was going. I told them it's going fairly well. I have not attended, but I'm planning to attend one of the hearings. We talked about the day shelter. They also asked about the hotel that's coming in. I shared with them that we're just at the beginning of the process of doing what we are planning to do. And so they are all excited for our city. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Baggett.
Thank you, Your Honor. I attended the July 21st Regional Transit Committee for Metropolitan King County Council. Basically, Metro implemented an emergency transit service reductions in March and April of 2020 and adjusted that reduced service in June and September of 2020 with additional adjustments and some service restorations in March 2021 and trips restored on 6 bus routes in June 2021. Metro is currently operating approximately 85% of its pre-COVID-19 service, and system-wide, just under 400,000 Metro service hours are currently suspended. Although buses had previously been operating with limited passenger capacity during the pandemic to allow passengers to distance, Metro returned to full passenger capacity on all of its services on July 3rd of this year. King County has adopted their 2021 and 2022 biennial budget, which funds a return to the pre-COVID transit service levels by the end of 2022. not including any changes to service funded by the city of Seattle through its Transportation Benefit District funding measure. Further, we just pointed out that the emphasis on the south end here in King County to make sure that our areas that have not been served well in the past with transit, that we take that into consideration when they start restoring all these services. So that was my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
I have no report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Stearns.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a quick thing. I attended the National League of Cities two-day conference on leading equitable communities. And on July 9th, I was honored to serve on a panel as part of the Municipal Leadership on Racial Healing panel, along with Mayor Patrick Wilhan of College Park, Maryland, Vice Mayor Victor Aguilar of San Leandro, California, Councilmember Laurie Sales from Gaithersburg, Maryland, Council Representative Russ Neal Jr. from Akron, Ohio, Councilmember David Luna from Mesa, Arizona, and Councilmember Janice Song from our neighbors in Bellevue. And we talked about the creating equity programs and equity tools in our city, the impact of the pandemic on our various communities, especially communities of color, as well as ideas involving the American Rescue Plan funding and housing opportunity. So we challenge ourselves to make our cities more equitable so our constituents can live happier and better lives. And one more thing, I just wanted to report that I was selected to join the Puget Sound Regional Council's new Equity Committee. And I want to thank Mayor Backus and Councilmember Brown for vouching for me and serving as a reference. So thank you.
It's amazing you were still able to get in with those recommendations. All right, thank you. Councilmember Jayraj.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't have anything to report this evening. Thank you.
Councilmember Malinga.
No reports, Your Honor.
Thank you. I will just report on a couple of items. On Wednesday, July 21st, in the morning, I went out on visits to encampments with our outreach administrator, Kent Hay. We had this time scheduled for quite a while and had to cut the time short because ironically, we were scheduled then to meet with Executive Constantine for an announcement that King County, with their Health Through Housing program, which you remember council is based on a 0.1% sales tax that the King County Council imposed late last year. And so the goal is to purchase hotels in different cities within King County to allow for non-congregate permanent supportive housing for individuals in those communities. We have worked very closely with King County to ensure that with this hotel purchase, there will be an Auburn first approach. Not like some of the earlier hotel leases or purchases at the beginning of COVID, which was simply trying to move people out of congregate shelters to avoid the spread of COVID. This is to be permanent supportive housing with the necessary services on site with 24/7 on-site supervision. The hotel will, they will work on some reconfiguration within the hotel. There are currently 102 hotel rooms. Most likely, some of those hotel rooms will be turned into office space for the whomever is selected as the service provider. And the city of Auburn will also have an opportunity to help with that selection process. As a reminder, there are no funds specifically being utilized from City of Auburn finances to purchase or operate the hotel. It is all through the health through housing budget. We are working very closely with King County. And as I said, it will be an Auburn first approach, not bringing in individuals from outside of our community or outside of South King County to utilize those beds. And there are other cities who, there was a notification of Federal Way, King County purchasing a hotel in Federal Way last week, in Redmond the week before. 2 were also purchased last week in Seattle, with more to come. The goal is to have 1,600 rooms for individuals who are currently unsheltered to utilize. There's already been some interest from individuals in our community asking for how they can move in from outside or living in their vehicle into these hotel rooms. So very excited by the opportunity for assistance, the permanent supportive housing. And as we say, accountability, right? That compassion, accountability, and community are the way that we try to determine all of our decisions. Also want to acknowledge the great work done by Valley Regional Fire Authority on the fire that occurred on early in the morning of Saturday, July 24th. I was notified by Chief O'Neill and then also VRFA Chief Brad Thompson, and decided to come down to where the fire was being fought. A little bit surreal as I was standing in the site of the Heritage Fire to watch this amazing choreography and the professionalism of not just Valley Regional Fire Authority, but also the Puget Sound Fire Authority and South King Fire and Rescue, as they did tremendous work to put out the fire, to save the lives of those individuals who were living in the Maxwell apartments. There were some roof rescues as well as window rescues. So amazing work done. And even the hanging flower baskets, all but one, were still hanging outside after the fire had been put out. The clock that Nelson's Jewelry had donated to the city was still intact. That will be moved prior to any work being done on that building or demolition, if that ends up being the case. We have worked closely with, I spoke with residents of the building that night and with business owners since that point in time. And I want to say a huge thank you as well to the Red Cross, who was out there that evening and early morning assisting those who were displaced with vouchers for hotels and personal items. Very, very proud of the work that was done. I am saddened, obviously, by another fire in our downtown. We will work with all individuals to ensure that the businesses can relocate here in Auburn, and hopefully the residents will relocate here in Auburn as well. With that, we have no need for an executive session that I am aware. So council, we are adjourned. Thank you.